Okay, good evening. May 9th, 2022, just about 8:40 p.m. in the evening. We're coming to you live. Tonight's topic's going to be kata training and how we build up our bodies to have stamina to get through a kata and what it takes to get through a kata. So, every time we bow into the class, we have a sequence that we go through, and kata is part of every class. So we bow in, we warm up, we do our calisthenics, and we do our basic exercises, upper body, our basic exercises, lower body, and we do our ippon kumite, which is the one-step attacks, the drills. Then we do the jukumite, where we do our freestyle fighting. And we do our empty hand kata, and then we work on our weapons kata last. And then we bow out. 9 chances out of 10, the people that stay late in the class are usually working on either empty hand kata or weapons kata, because there's just so much work to be done there that it takes a long time to learn and get the movements down, learn the bunkai. So what we try to do is, when we put the katas into the student, let's take Seisan for instance. When you put Seisan into the student, now the student has the basis of the movements that are in that kata. It's been told to me by many that the Seisan kata we practice is actually a black belt kata. So you might ask, well, why do you teach such an advanced kata to someone, who's just beginning? And the students, um, when you teach them the katas, depending on how they understand them, they get it. So, because of the basic exercises that we teach, it's a prerequisite to learn the katas, because most of the basic exercises that you'll be learning are incorporated in the katas, the punches, the blocks, the kicks, the turns. So, preparing yourself to learn the kata and study the initial movements that Sensei gives you, um, that's the first building block. Now, to practice that kata over and over and over again is what our topic is about tonight, because Seisan is a pretty long kata. It takes a lot of breathing, a lot of waza in the kata, so those are all the techniques. And then the memorization of what Sensei told you each movement means in the kata. So with that, you go home and you practice and you practice and you practice. And now you get to a point where you've got it memorized, and you've done some of the drills now at the dojo, and you're becoming more and more familiar with the kata. Well, now, when you start doing the kata over and over and over again, and you start adding more and more of your, your power, and um, trying to uh, execute each technique with ferocity and meaning, so that takes a lot of energy. Um, in lasting the time that it takes to do Seisan, let's say, I don't know, a minute and 40 seconds, maybe, minute and 50 seconds. Um, let's say 2 minutes. Let's say it takes you 2 minutes to do the kata. In that 2 minutes, or whatever time it takes you to get through the kata, if I asked you to hold your breath underwater for 2 minutes, most people would be like, wow, it's a long time to hold your breath underwater. Yes, yes, it is. But it can be done. So it's not like it's something that you can't do. You just have to practice it. The next thing that you have to prepare yourself for is how much breath is it really going to take for me to get through this kata from beginning to end and not be um, strong at the beginning, start fading in the middle, and then at the end not have enough to finish up the kata. We talk about conditioning, so stretching and calisthenics and bag work and jumping rope and doing all of the things that you need to do to build your stamina, to build your staying power on the deck. Keeping up with Sensei's cadence is no easy task, especially on some of the basics where you have to, really put out um, some breath and energy. Right. So, what does it take for you to um, get through the kata with enough stamina that you can finish strong and not have any problems? Don't get stuck. You have enough confidence now in yourself and in your kata that you can get through it. So now, let's say you did the kata for homework 5 times, 6 times, maybe 10 times. You're working on the footwork and the position of your blocks and your punches and that they're on target and you're doing your kicks at the right height. Once you get through that a couple of times, you're going to get to a point where you'll see the other students doing their kata very strong, very almost reinforced because they've been practicing it and their kicks, their punches, their blocks are sharp, they're crisp. Um, you watch some of the kata practitioners in tournament, and some of them are really polished. They have a good foundation of where they're coming from with their kata, which is also a interpretation of what Sensei's telling you. Um, the kata represents each movement. So again, when you're doing the kata, you want to make that um, obvious that's the movement that you're doing. When you do a block, don't just um, many of the senseis will tell you complete your movement. If it's supposed to be a block, do the block and then do the punch. Don't rush through it. Sort of define your movements. You can have speed, but again, the senseis want to see that you're not passing over a movement because um, you're in a hurry, to get through the kata. So again, stamina. You using from the moment you get on the deck and you start exercising, you're using your breath. And your breath is what's keeping you um, going. and trying to keep up. So going back to the conditioning aspect of martial arts, it serves in many different phases. Um, because if you're well stretched out, you'll be a good martial artist for sure. You'll practice well and you'll stay healthy. But then, whatever you do for work or for school, whatever, um, it it spills over. It spills into your daily life because you're limber and you're agile. You won't. Um, hopefully, you'll be what we call situational awareness, and you won't put yourself in an area where you may lose your footing. And if you do, you'll know what to do. You'll know your relationship with the ground. And then the mental aspect of it. When you learn a kata, a lot of times you are told what these movements mean. So when you're going through your daily life, things come into your space. When you're at work, when you're uh, just being, just being around people, you know, come into your space. And what you learn in the katas is this thing called distance and timing. So when they have you turn and do a block, um, the way you look, the way you prepare yourself to time that strike coming, that it doesn't hit you. Conditioning comes in many different ways. It comes from um, you doing the work. Now, there's programs available to just about everyone if you can get access to the internet. Um, you just type into YouTube and say stretching exercises, calisthenics, jumping jacks, squat thrusts, and there's people that make videos and show you how to do all this stuff. So when you get a new student, what's the first thing you need to do? You need to get them stretched out, otherwise they'll hurt themselves. So the stamina starts building from day one. Now, some people use um, free weights to condition their muscles, and that's awesome because uh, we use them here in the dojo. Little, 2.5 pounders, 5 pounders. Then we have 7.5 pound and 10 pound. Uh, and we put them in our hands and we stretch our backs. And, we get limber. Um, that conditioning is essential in martial arts, folks. Let me tell you, because if you're not well stretched, you will you'll get hurt. It's just a fact. You will get hurt. So it's so important that we start with the basics, and that is building the stamina necessary to get through a workout. There was a question on Family Feud the other night where they said, we interviewed 100 women and we asked, how many push-ups do you think your husband could do? And some people said 50. I think one lady said 25. And the number one answer was five. Five push-ups. Is so conditioning. It's all about. Sensei made us do our push-ups on our knuckles. And it's it's the conditioning aspect that you'll make yourself do it. Just like holding your breath underwater for 2 minutes. You'll make yourself do it if you know how to do it. if you practice it. So the whole idea of um, dedicating the time at home now, I'm not talking about in the dojo, but at home, when you have your space and you can do your work, um, the bag, I'll tell you what, the bag, on a nice hot day and you get a good sweat going, working that bag, it's the best. It's the best. It's the best workout. And it's a good endurance workout, a good distance and timing workout. There's a lot of things being served there at the time when you work in the bag. Um, just like when you do the kata. You know, when you practice, I call the katas volumes. They're like volumes, like encyclopedias. You know, Seisan is like an encyclopedia. If you really get down to it and you start itemizing what's going on in the kata, it's very interesting. You know, because there's a lot of things that you're covering in the kata. You know, um, when you talk about our 8 precepts, which we have, um, they were given to us as uh, sort of a guide as to how things work. You know, and you when you put the two of those things together, um, again, it's like a volume. It's like an encyclopedia of information that you can go withdraw anytime you want. Because once we teach it to you, we can never take it back. So we give it to you wholeheartedly, which is what Isshinryu is, the wholehearted way. Um, it's like a gift, and you have all these little gems in there that you can extract, practice, put them back. Um, it's a wonderful thing. It's a great privilege to be able to study these movements that were given to you by the people that came before you, and that you're preserving and protecting those movements by perpetuating um, the teaching of it, the practice of it, um, the benefit of it, the knowledge of it. Uh, Again, when you incorporate the precepts and you understand what's written there and what they're trying to say there, and then what the katas represent in their form, you sort of get this melding of knowledge, experience, competence, um, that you've accomplished something, you've learned something that you didn't know before, and now it's helping you build the one thing that is most important, and that's the stamina. If you have the energy and you've sort of like a forensic accountant when it comes to, all right, for the next minute and 40 seconds, I'm going to need, you know, total concentration. I got to get out there and got to bow in, get through the kata, and bow out. Well, uh, when you run a sprint, let's say you go back and forth 5 or 6 times running some sprints, and you get yourself out of breath, and now you do the kata, let's say. Hmm. Well, you're spent now because you just, did some sprints. And, you sort of, now is the time to break into a kata and see where am I stamina wise. I need to go. I need to do more bag work. Uh, I need to my diet. I need to sleep. I need to Do all of the things necessary to get that stamina up. Now, I work outdoors, so I'm in the sun all the time. So I get a lot of vitamin D. I very rarely get sick. I don't take any medications. I do all natural. I eat the foods that my mom taught me, uh, and I prepare them the same way. And I've made it to 63. Nothing, nothing. No diabetes. No heart. Just the one thing my doctor says is like about the bruising. From doing the drills, I bruise. You know, and he said now at my age, you got to calm down on the bruising. So not as hard. I tell the students just don't go as hard, all the time because it does. Um, it's Sensei called it. You got to be desensitized. You can't go like when somebody hits you. You go, ouch, that hurts. So it's a matter of again, it's all about the conditioning. Now, yes, we have to do things in moderation. I understand that, and sometimes we do get overzealous, if you will, in our training because we're trying so hard to um, reach our potential, if you will. Everybody has their own potential, and everybody has their own will. Um, Making the time for these things um, is the key. When you can fit in that good stretch. I find the best time, um, you know, when I get up in the morning, I like to stretch because I'm probably a little sore from the day before because I did a good workout. So stretching in the morning for me and oxygenating my blood is the best thing. The best thing. So staying limber, that's another thing that it's all about the conditioning. Got to make it hurt. If the stretch doesn't hurt, um, you got to get to a point where it doesn't hurt and you're where you want to be. Now you've reached your goal. You know. So again, that's a commitment. Stretching is a commitment because you can't do it like you can't snap your fingers. Okay, I'm stretched. No, stretching takes time. You have to breathe. You have to take your time, otherwise you will hurt yourself. Um, that conditioning is everything, folks, in martial arts and in your life. You should always be limber. Even at 63, I still roll. Um, I still do groundwork. Uh, I love working with the stuffed ukis, I call them. We have some great tools available to us to keep our bodies in shape. And it does fall into the conditioning falls into three categories. It's the physical, the mental, and the spiritual aspect of the science. Martial arts is the general title, but there is a martial science that goes along, just like with boxing. Boxing has a science, um, and if you utilize that science, you'll be successful. You may not win every fight, but you should go home in one piece. The science of the body and how the body works and how the body reacts to exercise. The exercise, all doctors are going to tell you as you get older, do something, stay active. Don't become stagnant because if you do, circulation issues, things don't. Uh, Things don't. You're not lubricating the joints every day. And if there's anybody who suffers from joint pain. It's me. I had rheumatic fever when I was young, and it didn't damage my heart, but it certainly affected all my joints in my body. So I have to stay limber. I have to, you know, um, if I don't do my normal run and uh, get that heartbeat going, I'll get uh, um, it's not good. I feel like I missed something. I didn't do something today. You know, you're so conditioned to train a certain way so that you can keep up. Because now that I am getting older, these young kids that are out there on the deck, they have energy that just to them it's no big deal. No matter how much you push them, you may get tired, but not like we do. So injuries, you got to try to keep your injuries to a minimum because injuries affect you at the moment when you get hurt, and then years later, um, injuries. You know, you got to take care of your body. You only get one of these in this lifetime, so um, dislocated fingers, um, like I said, the bruising, your knees. You gotta, if you don't stretch, oh my goodness. We do a lot. We take a lot of abuse in our legs. We do a lot of kicking to our legs, and that conditioning. As Sensei says, we got to desensitize you using that as a means and method to know that when you get in a fight, that's what's going to happen. that that's how you're going to feel. That's you know win, lose or draw. That's the way you're going to feel. So it's so important to be prepared. I think that's the key. Preparing yourself to um, last as long as you can. Because again, in our dojo, when we do the katas, we call it climbing the ladder. We'll start at Seisan. We'll do Seiyuchin, Nehanchi, Wansu, Chinto, Kusanku, Sunsu, Sanchin. Then we'll do Sanchin again. We'll repeat it again, which is grueling. And then we'll work our way all the way back down to Seisan. That's a good workout. It's a good way to practice the katas over and over and over again once you learn them. Um, and it helps you build the endurance because, to get through, as I said, your first kata is tiring. Now you're going to do Seiyuchin. Seiyuchin is all about, you know, your architecture and how you deploy this waza and how you apply it. So when you're doing your breathing and when you're exercising the movements in the kata, you want them to come out a certain way, and you want them to be um, you want them to have meaning. You don't just want to just do them. We're not robots. We interpret the katas a certain way after Sensei teaches them to us. We understand the basic concepts of what the movements are because Sensei explained that to us, which is the bunkai. Now, of course, we have to start with the basic bunkai for the people that are just learning the katas. But as you go up in rank and as you go through your journey, Again, that's why I said they're like volumes. They're like encyclopedias because there's all these gems in there that you can take out now and drill them, and really delve into the katas. So with that, all right, the third kata Nehanchi, you can get through that, very strong because it is a short kata. But again, you just did Seisan and Seiyuchin, so you better have enough gas in the tank to get through Nahanchi. Now, Wansu, um, I call it. It's like the working man's kata. It's it's a wonderful kata. Wansu is it's just an incredible kata. So now you have to do Wansu. All right, and then after Wansu is the Pierre de Resistance, and that is Chinto. All right, you got this unbelievable system of martial arts here in Shinto. Then you go on to this beautiful kata of Kusanku. Our founders kata, Sun Tzu, and then the Sanchin, which is the kata that I believe pays the most dividend to the practitioner for conditioning because of its body armor. The way it makes your body. Uh, when you're in a fight, you're going to get hit. So the 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 whole idea of not getting hit is why we train. But let's face it, folks, we're not infallible. There's a lot of things that happen in a fight that if you don't make the right decision, you're going to get hit. Okay, so and sometimes it's out of your control. People can hit you from you know um, areas that you can't see, like from high above. They may drop something on you, which has happened to me. So I know, not seeing it coming, being surprised by it, um, and then the damage that it does. So, um, again, if you incorporate the precepts where the eye and the ear, must see and hear in all directions. So it's asking you to pay attention. It's asking you to be aware. Um, and then, of course, how things go around. It mentions the rotation. Okay, so um, to me, doing the katas over and over and over again is the rotation of you trying to learn them. Let's face it, no matter how long you practice them, I don't know if I'll ever really know them because they're so rich in knowledge that it would take a lifetime and more to even get through one of them. Forget about 8 of them. I'm sorry. Seisan has so much in it that it's difficult to describe because if you just look at the movements, well, what's this guy talking about? It's only a minute's worth of stuff. Yeah, but it's a minute worth of stuff because it's all put together in a package and it's done bow in, bow out, and I get that. But when you start to extract each movement and practice a block, just a block. A block can happen, you know, all around the whole thing. So practice a block, you know, off of a block, a punch. Well, right there, just changing directions and doing it in different directions. That's just 2 movements. Now, the kata has many things in it, but I just mentioned the block and the punch because it happens to be one of the things that you have to do in the kata. So, um, endurance, conditioning, stamina. Well, aren't they all the same thing? Endurance, you want someone who's got the consistency to be, to endure, to be able to hang in there. So endurance to me means that when you give someone a task, no matter what happens in that task, many different things, they complete the task. They endure. They figure it out. They don't. Oh, I'm stuck here. Oh, I don't know what to do here. Oh, no. They have endurance. They can endure. No matter what you give them to do, they'll 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 see it through. The stamina. Well, when you have stamina, that means that you can last. That you can complete the task with as much energy at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. That's stamina. That you can last. So endurance and stamina, you put those two things together, and no matter what task you give someone, they're going to figure it out. And then the conditioning. Um, when you have repetition in your life and you do things over and over and over again, you should become very good at that. You should be able to, um, sort of delegate in your own mind where you're going to start, what you got to do, and how you're going to finish. So, having said that, the conditioning of doing your exercises, making sure that you have enough strength, energy, stamina, endurance, conditioning to get through your workout. Try not to get hurt because if you overdo it, you'll suffer from it. Take your time, build it up. There's no rush, but if you're committed to getting through a kata and getting through that kata, you could be sweating, no problem, no problem. I'm not saying I can get through a kata and not sweat. Not if I do it with my heart, where I mean everything I'm doing in the kata. I take my time. I'm not in a hurry. I do my kata. You know what I mean? I do it with as much power and energy that I can muster up. Um, it's in that I measure myself. Can I start it, do it, and finish it? With all my tools intact, have enough energy to bow out and not fall over. Um, can I endure? So I have to manage that. I have to manage that um, the combination of breath and waza happening together, so that the breath reinforces the waza, and the waza uses the breath to come out clearly. Nice, you know, with good concentration, good focus. So, stamina is what we all strive for. Uh, as I'm getting older, and I watch the way the young people do it. Um, yes, I swim. I run. I do free weights. I jump rope, absolutely, as much as I can because my knees hate that. But I do have to work, so I have to be careful. I can't overdo it. Again, I have to do it in moderation so that I get the benefit of the conditioning, but I stay safe. I stay operational where I can manage. I can balance that. And I'm good with that. Because I can still do um, uh, my full routine. I can do my upper body basics, my lower body basics. I can do my empty hand katas. I can do the ippons. I can do the kumite. I can do the weapons. So I'm still able to do it. Thank God at 63. Um, and now with they brought in some new talent into the dojo, and everyone's excited because we're all working on bringing them along in their journey. And they seem to be committed. They're never late for class. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing when you get new talent. And now that was the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. So don't waste your talent. Stretch. You don't have to be a martial artist to stretch. Anybody or everybody should stretch. Learn how to breathe. Get this information. It's available. So um, the next thing we want to talk about is the position of where you put the katas in your mind. In other words, we teach you these 8 volumes. Excuse me, but once we teach you the 8 volumes, you sort of get a feel for, well, hmm, I really like I said, Wansu, Shinto, Kusanku, Sun Tzu. There's so much information there that to read those books and go through those movements and categorize them and learn them and position them in the kata the way Sensei teaches you. Um, that's a lot of information. I mean, it's um, a lifelong practice. If you're committed to learning these volumes, these katas, um, it's a lifelong journey because again, the conditioning you'll get from that, you can't put a price on that. I'm sorry. That's like a professional athlete lives and works um, every day to do what they do, whether it's basketball or football or baseball or any sport. Those people that have signed on the dotted line, you know, pretty much 24/7 focus on their bodies, their conditioning, their diet, their sleep, um, just everything. Okay, so we, as common people that go to work every day and do this as a means and method to try to stay fluent and be able to pass on these skills to others, um, and dedicate that time to actually do so. Um, takes a large commitment. So, in order for you to make progress in your life, setting these little goals by learning each one of these volumes is a sense of accomplishment because there is a lot to learn It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So, by you committing to sort of categorizing, where do you put these, once you learn them, where do you put them in your mind? It's a benefit. When you start to categorize these volumes and you put them into perspective as to what they're offering you inside of each one of these volumes. One is you become very appreciative because, my goodness, look at what I got to play with now. I mean, look at my toy. And I just think that once you are conditioned enough and you have done these things consecutively and consistently over time, um, I just think I'll say one benefit for me. The funniest thing happens when you go out now to go do the katas. It's like, um, all your pain goes away. All those thoughts are gone now. You may feel this or you may feel that, but it's not, it's hard to describe. It's not like it goes away. It's just you don't give it any thought because right now you have to do this. It's funny how that works. It's funny how your brain says, okay, well, we got to forget about that a minute because now we got to do this and we got to do it this way. So we need, this to happen. It's got to happen like, this way. So it's like once you step on the deck and you bow in, your focus is no longer, you know, aches and pains. It's, the taskmaster is calling you to the whip because if you don't, um, it gets pointed out. What's the matter? You don't feel good? you know, you normally do much better than this. What's happening? Sometimes you may be hurt. You may have gotten you may have gotten hurt at work or something. However, most times when you're not performing the way you should, it's because you're not focused. Like I said, when I step on the deck, all that goes away. Now it's time to do this. Does it show in my performance? Of course it does. Of course it does. I'm not 100%, but I'm trying to condition myself enough to be able to be out on the deck and perform at some level. You know what I mean? Because let's face it, when you work out as much as we do, we split it up. We try not to overdo, too much of one thing. So we're always, moving around the soreness. Well, last night we did a lot of upper body stuff, so we're going to work now on the lower body stuff. And then come the next night, well, since we did upper and lower, we're sort of going to do some groundwork today now, you know, which creates a whole nother set of soreness because to do your groundwork, you got to warm up and you got to do all of the exercises that are necessary to do groundwork. Again, conditioning, stamina, trying to push yourself to the next level of grabbing that breath. Calm down, because usually when you're out of breath, um, you're at the top, okay, and you need to bring that down, even though you need the breath. You got to bring it down. You got to try your best anyway. And there are some that are very good at that technique. There are some that really have that under control, where they can really control it. But that's because they practice it ever so hard. It's like doing sprints back and forth and now breaking into a kata. And after doing sprints and breaking into, let's say, Kusanku, where you're going to be busy for the next couple of minutes. Yeah, yeah. So, and then you pick up the bow. I mean, we have again. There's so much to live and learn here because as you live, you're learning. As you're learning, you're living. So it's a push pull kind of thing. It's a yin yang kind of thing. One works off the other, which means basically that we get if we're dedicated, we get to spend time on picking these things apart and learning them and trying to build um, the endurance to get through a Sun Tzu kata. Sun Tzu kata is a long kata. All right, the founder built this kata and incorporated a lot of waza in the kata. So when you're done, you should have a pretty good sweat going. you know, you should have a pretty good sweat going. Your heart should be up now, probably at about 120, maybe 130 beats a minute. You know what I mean? That's where your heart should be. Think of that. That question was asked on one of our radio programs. In an average lifetime, let's say people live to be, let's say, 70, 80 years old, whatever. How many times in a lifetime do you think your heart beats? Do you have any idea? You have any numbers to give me? Well, believe it or not, it's in the billions. It's like 2.3 billion times in a lifetime. So now, professional athletes and people like us, martial artists, lifelong martial artists that go out on the deck and get our heartbeats up almost every night. And I'm not talking about um, doing anything foolish. I'm just talking about working out. All right, just getting on the deck and getting out there. And let me tell you something. You climb the ladder. You do 8 empty hand katas in a row, and then come back down the ladder. That's 16 katas in a row. You'll be sweating after that. Your heartbeat will be up after that. So the conditioning to get through that takes experience, takes good management. You know, calm. You got to be calm. You can't look to, you know, catch up to anybody. You got to run this race at your pace. Because it's I use the word race, but you got to run this program at your pace. You got to go up that ladder, and you got to come back down that ladder, um, uh, and work on it. If you want to keep up with the others and you want to last, you got to work out. You got to, swimming is very good for an old guy like me. Getting in the water and just swimming. And just working. Because when you're swimming, you're sweating. You don't realize it, but when you're swimming, you're sweating. Because you're working. You may be wet. That's why that song, I Wish It Would Rain, is all about a guy losing his girl and him crying. But if it rains, you can't tell I'm crying because my face is wet. So swimming is just an amazing workout. Calm, nice and easy. You're not looking to race nobody. You know what I mean? You're in the water and you're swimming. You're getting a good workout. You're stretching. You're getting a good aerobic workout. Swimming is you know, with those feet, getting those feet, those legs, and swimming, it's great. Swimming is a great way for old people like me to get a good workout. And then, you know, upper body basics are no joke. In Isshinryu Karate, there are 15 upper body basics. In our dojo, we have 16, because we added one for Don Nagel. But the Isshinryu 15 empty upper body basics, there's no joke. You do 10 and 10 aside, it's tough. But when Sensei would make us do 25 and 25 aside, oh, endurance, stamina, conditioning. If you don't have those things, there is just no way you're getting through that. There's just no way. And then if you get through it and the movements look like weak, Sensei's going to criticize you because you're not conditioning yourself. You don't have the stamina. You're not putting in the time. You're not doing your homework. Listen, um, when you go to other people's dojos and the other senseis are watching, um, they know the ones that put in the time and put in the work, because their technique, as the workout goes on, just becomes stronger and stronger. They're actually gaining speed. They're actually, loosening up now, you know. So it's an amazing thing that happens when you practice martial arts with the proper instruction and the proper time and dedication. Yeah, the response that you get from your body is just amazing. Didn't know it then, but I know it now. The workouts were grueling, so guys used to, run to the bathroom and throw up. They just, it was so hot, and it was unbelievable what he put us through. But that conditioning, that mental, physical, and spiritual conditioning is what prepares you for everything in life that you're gonna encounter. So, well, here we are. We have coming up on an hour, so um, we'll pick this up on our next show, because I have some films that I want to put in the as links in the chat, so you guys can take a look at some of the videos that we've built over the last several years. Just going to other senseis dojos and using their facilities to capture some of the kata training, some of the jukumite, some of the one steps, and then of course the calisthenics and just basics and how we do our workout, um, so that everybody can take a look at some of the stuff that we do. And if any of it interests you, you're free to use it and share it, teach it, because Sensei McGrath had some pretty interesting concepts when it came to. Um, he called it misdirectional fighting. He called it non-involvement fighting. Uh, it's a concept of I guess superb defense, because your movements are committed. Whatever you're going to do is, you know, you're committed. So Our next show, when we come back, we're going to have two guests join us. I'm just in the process of confirming them now. I think we'll do. Uh, I'm not sure how it works on YouTube, but I know on Teams you can have a screen where you can capture all three, and then you can save that video and you can upload it here on your YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that, folks. And thanks for tuning in. It's again, Monday nights are always um, a good night for me to have a program because it's I don't teach on Monday nights, so thank God that the black belts help me with that. But yeah, so today um, we'll have two more shows on this endurance topic. And then again, when my guests come on, um, maybe they'll give you some hints. So again, thanks for tuning in, folks. It's been a pleasure. Good night and stay safe, please.